Caitlin Clark is going to miss tonight's game, and she's got a groin injury. I have been banging the drum online and on here for the last 2 weeks saying there's something wrong with her legs. There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range, where it requires, some real push.
Caitlin Clark's groin just waved the white flag, and now she's riding the bench. But hold on, because Dana B didn't just stir the pot, she hurled it across the room. Fever fans are heated, quitting rumors are swirling, and the drama's messier than a toddler let loose with spaghetti. So what actually happened? Why is Dana snapping? And how did Caitlin's injury turn into the ultimate plot twist? Strap in. This ride's got no brakes and nothing but chaos ahead.
And that is the news that Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury. Now, if you guys have been watching the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark play over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does.
First it was the hip. Now it's the groin. At this pace, Caitlin Clark's body is sending out more distress signals than a castaway shouting into a seashell. This isn't just bad luck. This isn't oopsie-daisy territory anymore. This is full-on does she have a target painted on her back? Mode, because every game feels like a demolition derby, and somehow Caitlin's the only car rolling in without airbags.
Caitlin Clark is out again with an injury, which is the worst thing you can hear if you're a fan of the Indiana Fever, and really if you're a fan of the WNBA, because obviously Clark is the engine that makes the Indiana Fever go, and is the single biggest driver of interest in the WNBA, and it's not close. And anytime somebody is out of the lineup, you get concerned, especially when it's Clark, obviously, considering she had already been injured earlier this year and is now out with what is being dubbed a left groin issue.
The Indiana Fever have officially entered the danger zone. You know things are rough when the medical staff knows Caitlin Clark's Starbucks order by heart. It's only the 2nd injury of the season, and we haven't even hit the halfway mark. For a franchise that pinned its hopes on a generational talent, this is starting to feel less like a rebuild and more like a high-stakes episode of Survivor, WNBA edition.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury. Caitlin Clark will be missing tonight's game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. The venue will be open. Out with a left groin injury. We go from a quad to a quad to a groin.
But here's where the rabbit hole gets deep and spicy. It's not just the injuries, it's how they're happening. Watch the tape back, slow-mo, frame by frame, film room style, and you start seeing something that feels less like basketball and more like back alley sabotage. Every game, like clockwork, Caitlin's getting botted like she's sneaking secrets out of Area 51. Elbows flying, shoulders charging, hips checking harder than a TSA agent with a personal vendetta.
The Indiana Fever just lost a really tough game against the Los Angeles Sparks, and it comes back to the 4 things the Indiana Fever always have trouble with: missed layups, missed free throws, interior defense, and rebounding. That is why the Indiana Fever lost this game, and that's why they cannot be a championship team in my opinion. You have to be able to get stops, you have to be able to rebound the basketball when you do force stops, but there was some positives in this game as well that we have to get into. Kelsey Mitchell was spectacular. I love to see her furthermore breaking her shooting slump. She had 20 points today on 44% shooting from the 3-point line, so you like to see her have 3 back-to-back games in a row where she's having over 20 points. She's totally in her group.
And the refs? They're officiating a different sport, or on a vow of silence worthy of Himalayan monks, because these fouls aren't getting called. Hits go ignored, blatant rearrange her spine plays get chalked up as good defense. It's less let them play and more let them assault. You'd think the league would blink when its biggest draw is hobbling off the court for the 2nd time in a month. Instead we all pretend this is normal, just growing pains. The only thing growing is the list of people who look unusually committed to taking Caitlin out, one limb at a time. Players swarm her like she stole their parking spot or their moment in the spotlight, and if jealousy had a playbook, page 1 would read, target the rookie. Rough her up. Hope she taps out. And worst of all, it's actually working.
Her pre-game routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right. And I have to be totally honest with you guys, I'm not surprised by this news at all. I was just having a conversation with my fiance last night and I told him, I was like, I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her and sits her for a few games. I think she is still battling some sort of injury. And less than 12 hours later, the news dropped from the Fever. But it's a tough blow not only to Caitlin because we know that she loves to be on the court. It's a tough blow for the Indiana Fever because that is their superstar. Whether she is playing to the best of her abilities or not, they are still a better team with her on the court.
Caitlin's toughness isn't in question. She could take a hit from a bulldozer and still drop 25. But even steel bends under pressure, and when every game turns into a wrestling match disguised as basketball, something's bound to snap. This week, it was her groin. And here's the bigger issue. This isn't just a Fever problem, it's a WNBA problem. When your marquee player is being treated like a pinata on Cinco de Mayo, that's not competitive edge. That's a red flag strapped to a firework. For the league to turn a blind eye? That's malpractice. Meanwhile, Fever fans are watching games like it's a horror movie, one hand over their eyes. Every drive to the basket feels like a dare. Will she land safely? Will someone body slam her into the hardwood? Will a ref finally remember what a foul looks like? Right now, it's Russian roulette in a basketball jersey.
Dealing with an injury, not looking like herself, the game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't see.
It's gotten so absurd you half expect Vegas to post odds on which body part Caitlin Clark will injure next. Ankles, shoulders, spinal cord, place your bets. At this rate, her career looks like an injury bingo card. And yet the league's silence is deafening, louder than a viewer in a library. The conspiracy theorists aren't sounding so crazy anymore. Maybe there is a secret shut her down club. Maybe there's a rogue PowerPoint circulating titled How to Annihilate Clark Without Getting a Technical. Meanwhile, the refs' whistles are gathering dust, their eyes allegedly open but about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. And it's not just missed calls, it's obvious ones. Physics-defying, limb-twisting, WWE-grade takedowns get waved off like routine defense. Honestly, you'd have an easier time getting flagged for jaywalking on the moon than seeing a ref call a flagrant for bulldozing Caitlin Clark in the paint.